Did you know that Armenia was one of the first countries to grant women the right to vote in 1918? Yet today, the nation faces a complex struggle with gender equality. Let's explore how Armenian women navigate between tradition and progress in a country known for its beauty and economic hardships. When we examine Armenia's economic situation, we see a country that is resilient despite facing many obstacles. Armenia's economy is distinct in that it heavily depends on remittances from its nationals who are employed outside. This financial lifeline, which mainly comes from Georgia and Russia, demonstrates the economic risks that many families face as well as the inventiveness of Armenians. Imagine a nation where a sizable segment of the labor force leaves the country in search of opportunities abroad, remitting hard-earned money to sustain their families back home. This is how many Armenian families really live. These remittances have a significant impact that goes well beyond the lives of individual homes. They are essential to the survival of the local economy as a whole. What does the ordinary lives of people who stay in Armenia look like, though? The lowest cost of living when compared to Western nations is one of the most notable features. Let's illustrate what this actually implies in real life. A one-bedroom apartment in the city center of Yerevan can be rented for between $300 and $500 a month. Prices decrease to between $200 and $350 when you get outside the center. An average-sized apartment's monthly utility costs range from $50 to $100. Armenia has several very reasonably priced eating options that would make many people in the West jealous. A dinner for two at a mid-range restaurant could run you $20 to $40, whereas a meal at a budget-friendly eatery only $5 to $10. These costs demonstrate how affordable everyday luxuries are for a large number of Armenians while also reflecting the nation's economic realities. We discover an entirely different way of life as we travel into rural areas. Here, families continue to lead traditional lives, frequently growing their own fruits and vegetables and rearing animals for food. This connection to the land creates a strong sense of community and peace, in addition to a nutritious diet free of processed goods. This kind of life enables people to stay in close proximity to the natural world, even in the face of frequent infrastructure difficulties in these regions. However, how are Armenians adjusting to these economic difficulties, especially the women? Their creative thinking and spirit of entrepreneurship hold the key to the solution. There have been numerous obstacles for Armenian women entrepreneurs since the collapse of the Soviet Union. Nonetheless, they are becoming more and more involved in business. In Armenia, women owned 11.5% of businesses in 2005. This percentage increased to 15.3% by 2013, indicating a gradual but noticeable advancement in women's economic empowerment. This development has been made possible by institutions like the Asian Development Bank, which offer resources and training to assist women in starting and growing their enterprises. These initiatives are a part of a larger drive to explore new markets in industries like technology and tourism, as well as to diversify Armenia's economy. Micro, small, and medium-sized business growth is shown to be essential for economic empowerment, especially for women. These companies support the nation's economic expansion in addition to giving individual households a source of income. Numerous Armenian women are thriving despite the difficult economic climate thanks to these initiatives. Greetings from the pulsing heart of Armenia, Yerevan. Ancient history and contemporary goals converge in this alluring capital city to create a singular tapestry of growth and culture. You'll find a city that exemplifies Armenia's capacity to respect the past while fearlessly facing the future as we stroll through its streets. Imagine yourself strolling across Yerevan's main square, Republic Square. The exquisite structures all around you are constructed from pink volcanic tuff, which gives the city its moniker, the Pink City. These buildings illustrate Yerevan's rich architectural history with its fusion of neoclassical and Armenian architectural elements. However, if you look more closely, you can see how modernity has assiduously merged with the city's architecture. The sophisticated metro system in Yerevan is among its most remarkable features. This subterranean network promotes a feeling of community while also improving accessibility for both locals and tourists. You'll witness individuals from all walks of life interacting, exchanging daily experiences, and forging distinctively Armenian connections with their city while you ride the metro. However, Yerevan's allure extends beyond its physical features. The city has a thriving cultural scene on par with many capitals in Europe. There are many tiny bookstores that sell anything from the newest worldwide blockbusters to ancient Armenian literature. There's a tangible sense of knowledge and creativity in the air as these literary havens act as meeting spots for academics, book enthusiasts, and intellectuals. Yerevan's theater scene is equally impressive. The city's theaters present a broad variety of shows to suit a wide range of preferences, from modern international productions to classic Armenian plays. These cultural organizations expose audiences to international artistic trends while also playing a vital role in maintaining Armenian heritage. Another feature that makes Yerevan unique is its cafe culture. There are several quaint cafes throughout the city where people congregate to talk about life, politics, and the arts over robust Armenian coffee. These cafes are social hubs where people congregate, discuss ideas, form friendships, and sense the pulse of the city. They're not just somewhere to stop for a quick drink. It is evident from our exploration of Yerevan that this city is a microcosm of Armenia's larger cultural identity. It's a location where progressive ideas and traditional values dwell in peace, bringing the old and the modern together. The way that women's roles are changing in urban environments may be the clearest example of this difficult balancing. Women are assuming leading positions in a variety of fields in Yerevan, including business, politics, and the arts. The city has developed into a haven for female entrepreneurs, with new ventures from female owners appearing in a variety of sectors. By defying gender norms and preserving a strong bond with their cultural heritage, these metropolitan women are reinventing what it means to be Armenian. It's crucial to remember that this development is not consistent nationwide. Although women in Yerevan are shattering barriers and changing social norms, women in rural areas are frequently subjected to more traditional expectations. This difference draws attention to Armenia's continuous socioeconomic transformation, which is being led by major cities like Yerevan. The 2018 Velvet Revolution demonstrated the ability of Armenian women to spearhead societal change. Women were instrumental in this non-violent insurrection, joining men in the streets to call for political change. This incident not only altered Armenia's political climate, but also brought attention to the increasing role that women are playing in determining the destiny of their nation. Armenian women are frequently characterized as graceful and strong, a mesmerizing combination of strength and beauty. This view has its roots in Armenian society's complicated past and the changing status of women, making it more than merely a cultural caricature. Armenian women are paving the way for social transformation, whether it is in the busy streets of Yerevan or the sleepy countryside villages. Now let's discuss Armenia's rich history of women's rights. Did you know that in 1918, Armenia was among the first nations to give women the right to vote? This pioneering dedication to women's rights demonstrated an avant-garde progressive mentality. Nevertheless, the road to equality hasn't always been easy. Following its separation from the Soviet Union, Armenia encountered severe economic difficulties that impeded the advancement of women's rights. With the nation's economic transformation to a market-based economy, many women found themselves going back to doing unpaid home chores. The narrative of advancements and regressions is echoed by the portrayal of women in Armenian politics. Quotas guaranteed women's representation in the government throughout the Soviet era. The image now appears very different. Presently, the Armenian government has 17 ministers, with only 2 of them being female. This striking disparity draws attention to the continuous fight for equitable representation in politics. However, Armenian women aren't doing nothing. They are actively taking part in demonstrations and social movements, raising awareness of the issues and calling for reform. Women were instrumental in the campaign for political change during the historic Velvet Revolution of 2018. Envision a scene where tens of thousands of women march through the streets, joining forces with men to demand a better future. This impressive demonstration of civic involvement demonstrated the resolve and impact of Armenian women in determining the future of their nation. Another motivating factor for change is the enterprising nature of Armenian women. Women are becoming more and more involved in business, despite major obstacles. In Armenia, women owned 11.5% of businesses in 2005. This percentage increased to 15.3% by 2013. Despite the seeming slowness of the progress, Armenian women are steadily moving toward economic independence and empowerment. Armenian women now have effective instruments at their disposal to promote change and increase public awareness awareness of women's issues. Social media and art. Artists are challenging conventional narratives and advocating for gender equality through the use of platforms such as Instagram. These digital activists are opening up new channels of communication and establishing connections with like-minded people in Armenia and throughout the world. They are changing attitudes and encouraging a new generation of Armenian women to dream big and break limits through their art and online presence. Gender equality and women's assistance are being greatly aided by organizations such as the Women's Resource Center in Armenia. They address gender-based violence, emphasize a feminist approach to empowerment, and offer vital support to displaced women and girls. These initiatives are especially crucial in light of the recent humanitarian crises that have disproportionately impacted women and girls, including the conflict in Nagorno-Karabakh. Digging farther into the history of Armenian women reveals a terrain of struggles and victories. A lengthy shadow has been cast over the country by the current humanitarian catastrophe resulting from the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, which has primarily affected women and girls. More than 100,000 ethnic Armenians have fled to Armenia, many of them traumatized after being cut off from basic necessities by a blockade. The crisis has had a serious negative effect on women's health. Pregnant women's anemia rates rose as a result of the blockade in Nagorno-Karabakh, and the number of miscarriages brought on by stress and malnourishment tripled. These harsh facts draw attention to the disproportionate load that women frequently carry during times of displacement and violence. Organizations such as the Women's Resource Center, WRC, have come forward to offer vital support in the face of these obstacles. One of the few groups providing emergency care with a feminist perspective is the WRCI, which concentrates on empowering displaced women and girls who are housed in shelters all around Armenia. Their work emphasizes how crucial it is for humanitarian relief efforts to take into account the unique requirements of women. One important problem raised by WRC Executive Director Anush Pogosyan is that the specific needs of women and other vulnerable groups are not always addressed properly within the humanitarian aid process. This insight underscores the continuous endeavor to guarantee that women's perspectives are acknowledged and their distinct obstacles are acknowledged during periods of turmoil. Armenian women are still working for advancement in a number of societal domains in spite of these recent obstacles, but there is still a long way to go until equality is achieved. Despite women's active participation in politics and the workforce, gender discrepancies still exist in these domains. The existing status of women in the Armenian government, with just 2 of the country's 17 ministers being female, highlights how difficult it will be to achieve equal participation in positions of political leadership. Women entrepreneurs have many obstacles in the business sector, such as restricted access to funding and market prospects. These barriers impede their ability to become economically empowered and emphasize the need for focused assistance. Although the Armenian government has taken steps to help female entrepreneurs, direct financial assistance and business training are still desperately needed to guarantee the long-term viability of women-owned businesses. Armenian women seek to advance both personally and professionally while navigating a challenging terrain of cultural expectations. They frequently have to strike a balance between their traditional responsibilities and their modern goals, a juggling act that calls for perseverance and resolve. In industries like technology and finance that have historically been controlled by men, many women are making strides while still having close ties to their cultural history. With the growth of social media and digital platforms, Armenian women now have more ways than ever to promote change and increase public awareness of women's issues. With the help of these digital platforms, which are becoming potent resources for networking, storytelling, and planning, women can now connect with like-minded people in Armenia and throughout the world. An important factor in Armenian women's empowerment is education. Despite the nation's high rates of reading among men and women, more has to be done to advance equal access to post-secondary education and career advancement. In an effort to reduce the gender gap in these sectors, programs that emphasize STEM education for girls and young women are becoming more and more popular.